Hello everyone. Welcome to today's author webinar. Thank you for joining us. I'm Chandni and I'm part of the Learning and Content Management team. So joining with me from the Learning and Content Management team are my colleagues Anita, Julian, and we also have our research support team who will be there on standby to support any author queries in the Q&A channel. So before we begin, a few housekeeping items. So firstly, please take a few moments to complete the poll you will see on your screens. If you have a question at any time during the content of the session, please use the Q&A option to send your question directly to us. We will try to answer as many questions as possible during the session today in the Q&A channel. If we cannot answer all the questions, we will reply to you directly after the session unless you post the question anonymously to us. So we will also cover some of the questions at the end of the session today. For the best view, you may wish to drag the central bar on your screen to the right to enlarge the screen that I'm sharing. And you may also wish to enable the live transcripts via the bar on the bottom of your screen. So finally, our session is being recorded and you will be sent a link when the recording is ready. So now let's take a look at our agenda for today. So our session today aims to give you all the information you need to successfully submit your revision and also to monitor its progress in Editorial Manager. So we will start our session by giving you an overview of the revision process in Editorial Manager. Please note that the steps may vary depending on the journal configuration and the type of article being submitted. We will then provide you a brief explanation of the various editorial statuses your submission may progress through in Editorial Manager. Finally, we will give you some information on the submission tracker. So now let's get into Editorial Manager test site and explore the revision submission process. So please know that I'm going to be using our training site for the demonstration purpose with dummy users and dummy submissions. The training site is a good replica of the live environment, but it will be slightly different to your own profile. So don't worry if you don't see things that you normally see when you log into your profile. This may be due to the rights and permissions that are granted for each role that may vary from journal to journal. So now let's switch over to Editorial Manager. Anita, I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it is visible, Chandni, but can you just make the screen a little bigger? I feel
sure.
like the font is a little small. Yeah, I think,
Is it okay now?
yeah, I think it's fine, Chandni. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Anita, for confirming. So to start with, for instructions on how to submit your revision, please watch our video preparing to submit your revision video that is linked here. So prior to submitting, it is also important to understand the journal's specific requirements as these may vary. So there are few places where the revision instructions may be found. The first place where you find this information is the journal's guide for authors that you can see here. So when you click on the About option, so you see the instructions for authors that is on the top navigation bar. So this will contain specific instructions for submitting your revision in Editorial Manager. The second place where revision instructions can be found is the decision letter, which you would have received via email. So this letter may also be easily accessed via Editorial Manager. So click on the Submissions Needing Revision folder under the Revision section here. So locate the manuscript which you would want to modify and click the link associated with the decision under the View Decision column here. So for this webinar, I'm just going to be using this particular test manuscript. So I click on this decision term. So this will open up the editor's decision letter. I hope the decision letter is visible. Anita, can you confirm?
Yes, it is now, Chandni. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. So this letter will contain the journal-specific instructions for authors to prepare your revision, as well as you will see the editor and reviewer comments over here. So please do keep this in mind while you're working on the revised version. Additionally, if the decision letter includes any attachments, so they can be accessed by clicking on the link that is available on the top of this letter here. So either you can do it from over here, or you can just close this, and you can also access, I'm sorry. Okay, let me share my screen again. Anita, are you able to see my screen now?
Yes, Chandni.
Okay, so yeah, so you can either access the attachment from the decision letter here, or you can also access the attachment from the view attachments link that you find under your action link. Okay, so now if you would like to download the source files that you have previously submitted, then you can also access them from the file inventory option here. So here you can download the individual files, or you can select multiple files to download in a compressed zip file format. So next step, you prepare your revised manuscript file and any other files as described in the decision letter. If the research is being supported by funding, be sure you have the details available, including the funding body and grant numbers, if any. If you have co-authors, then verify that you have the current affiliation and contact details of all the co-authors with you ready. So if there are any changes to the author list, such as adding or removing an author or changing the author order, you must have agreement of all authors. So once you are ready to submit the manuscript, then just click on the revise submission option here. So you will see a warning message here. If you do not yet have all of your revised materials prepared and ready, you can cancel now and come back when you are ready again. Otherwise, just click OK to begin the revision process. So now you will be prompted to confirm the article type here from the drop down. Please note that it is rare to change the article type during the revision process. Doing so may result in different required files or different required information to be provided by authors. So please refer to the guide for authors that I just pointed out earlier for more information on that. So when you are ready, then please select the article type and then click on the proceed button here. So at the attach files step here, a list will appear displaying all the files that you uploaded in the previous version. You can untick any files that you will be replacing or removing, or you can also tick any files that you want to be copied into your revision process. So over here, we see a list of files that are already available from my initial submission. So for example, I would like to upload a high resolution image during the revision process. So I'm going to untick this file, and I don't want this file to be included in my revised version. And likewise, if I can also provide an updated version of the declaration of interest if it is mandatory for your journal. Okay, so yeah, so now once you are ready, then click on the proceed button that you see at the bottom of the screen here. Okay, to upload a single file, you just have to select the item description here and then use the browse option to select the file from your computer and then upload it during your revision process. Or if you want to upload multiple files, then just select the files from your computer, drag and drop the files in this particular option here. Okay, so if there are any duplicate file names or items that could not be uploaded, they will be listed below with an error message. The system will automatically prompt the authors. So in this example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload the revised figure. Once the files are uploaded, scroll down. It's taking a few minutes to upload. Okay, scroll down to ensure that all the documents that you would like to upload along with your revised submission is being uploaded here, and the descriptions and the item descriptions are selected correctly before you proceed to the next step. So the journal is already automated to sort the files based on the chosen item labels, but you will always be able to set the order when there are multiple files of the same type, such as figure files, etc. To reorder the files, you can also change the order here and click on the update file order if you wish to change the order of the files. So now once you are ready, then please click on the proceed button here. So some journals require two versions of the same file. For example, some journals require both the marked version and also the clean version of the manuscript to be submitted along with the revised version. So please make sure that you upload both of it before at the attach file step before you proceed to the next step here. Okay, so under the general information step here, check whether any details need to be updated. So for example, you have the classifications already selected. So now if you wish to change any of them, you can go ahead and add or remove any classification topics according to your wish. And then click on the proceed button. Okay, so if you would like to change some of these reviewers here, you can go ahead and change them. So these are the reviewers that were recommended during the initial version of your submission. So if you'd like to modify any of these reviewers, go ahead and do so. Otherwise, if everything is fine, just go ahead and click on the proceed button here. Okay, so you may also be asked to review or add any additional information such as answer any journal specific questions during the revision step here. If so, please review and respond as needed. Then click on the proceed button when you're ready to continue. So if you would like to change any of the options here, feel free to make any updates as you wish. Otherwise, just click on the proceed button to move to the next step. At the comment step here, please review the comments that you have entered when you initially submitted your manuscript and update if it is necessary. Some journals may also require you to enter response to reviewers as a text comment here. So for example, you can view the decision letter again before typing your responses under the response to reviewer box here. So some journals may ask authors to provide the response to review comments as a text box during the submission process, as you see here, or as a separate Word document in the attach file step. In either case, I would just like to provide some tips on how to respond to these reviewer comments. So first, create a list organizing your responses by listing each of the reviewers or editor comments and addressing each of them separately. Be sure that you avoid overly brief or just one-word responses, as being clear and detailed allows the editor to see that you have taken all the necessary steps in order to accommodate the reviewer comments and you have considered them while revising your paper. So if you disagree with any of the reviewer or editor comments, feel free to explain your point of view directly, but also in a polite manner. So I'm just going to enter some random comments here. Okay, so now click on the proceed button once you are done. So this is the last step in your submission process, which is the manuscript data page. So check everything carefully. If your submission is accepted, this metadata is going to be used in the publication process. So if you need to update the contact information of any co-authors, click on the pencil icon, which you see underneath. And you can make any changes to the author list or add any details, add or remove any authors, whichever is applicable. And if there is any missing required information, it will be automatically flagged in red. So there will be a red disclaimer triangle box that will appear on each of the section here that will alert the authors that some missing information, authors need to provide some missing information in this particular step. Okay. And then moving on to the funding information here. So if you have any funding details to be provided at the revised step, you can do so by adding your funding information details here. Or if you don't have any funding information to be provided, just tick this checkbox here. So at this revised step, I do have a funding information to be provided. So I just have to start typing in the name of the funder and it automatically pre-populates and you can select from the drop down. And then the grant number and the grant recipient. So if you have this information about funding source, please do provide this information and click on this floppy disk icon here to save this information on EM. So now once you're done with this particular step, so the next step is building the PDF process for approval. So if you would like to save and submit your, submit your revised version later, just click on the save and submit later button here. That will automatically, it will go back to the incomplete submissions under your main menu. And from there, you can proceed with submitting the paper again once all the files are ready and your submission is ready to be submitted to the journal. So now once you are ready, click on the build PDF for approval. Okay, so once your PDF is ready, it will automatically show under the action column here. So it will take a few minutes for the PDF to be to get built. So just wait until we are able to see the options appearing under the action column. So the system will automatically refresh until then. So now we see that you're able to view the PDF of the revised version. So click on the view revision before you approve your submission. So once you have had a complete look of the revised version of your manuscript, then just click on the approve revision here. So now once you have approved your submission, the revised submission will now appear under revisions being processed folder under your main menu. So now let's go back to the main menu. So now your paper will be under revisions being processed folder here. The status of the submission will show revision submitted to the journal. So if you have not built your PDF, but you just wanted to go back, submit your manuscript later, the paper will get lined up under your incomplete submissions being revised folder here. So click on this folder and just locate the manuscript for which you would like to start the submission process again. So in order to start your submission process, you just have to click on the edit revision option here. Again, the steps remain the same. You can either click on the proceed button here at each stage in order to proceed to the final step, or just click on the milestone icons here in order to go to the final step and then proceed with building your PDF. So this is how you submit your revised version in Editorial Manager. So now I'm going to go back to my presentation to continue with the webinar. So let's see how we can track your submission once it's been submitted to the journal. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my presentation now. Okay, so Anita, can you confirm that you're able to see my screen again?
Yes, Chandni, all clear.
Okay. So now let's see how to track your submission in Editorial Manager. So once an author finishes writing his or her paper and submits it to the journal, the system shows the status of the manuscript as manuscript submitted. So based on the workflow of the journal, the editorial office or the editor performs a technical check on your manuscript. So they will check the manuscript word count, format, and figure quality, etc. So the next step is assigning the paper to the editor-in-chief or to an associate editor for further handling. So journals usually have multiple associate editors who are experts in a particular niche within the broader subject area. So your manuscript will be handled by the editor who has the highest level of understanding and experience with your paper's research topic. So the status will remain with editor until the editor either makes a decision or invites reviewers. The handling editor will then take different action choices. So make a desk reject decision, send the paper for revision, or invite reviewers. So the editor will conduct an initial screening of your paper and assess it against several criteria such as novelty, priority, and scope. If your paper is a better match for another journal, you may be offered a manuscript transfer. Also, it is possible that your paper does not meet some of the assessment criteria, and then the editor will reject it before going into the peer review. So if the editor decides that your paper is a good match for their journal, they will identify 2 or 3 independent reviewers, depending on the journal configuration, and then send an invitation to the reviewers to review your manuscript. So when the editor invites reviewers, the status of the manuscript will automatically change to under review. Once the required number of reviews are received and recommendations were submitted, the status of the manuscript will show as required reviews completed. So the handling editor carefully studies the review reports. It can happen that the referee reports are conflicting, in which case the editor will need to find an additional reviewer. When this happens, your submission will return to the under review status again. So when the editor has received enough high quality feedback from the reviewers, they will begin the decision making process, and the status of the paper will automatically move to decision in process. So the decision may need to be confirmed by multiple editors also in some journals. The manuscript will then move to the editors-in-chief account for making a final decision. So now the editor-in-chief submits his or her decision. So the editor has requested that you revise the submission. You will find the details of the changes required and the deadline for your revision in the decision letter. So accept or reject. So the submission process has been completed with either an accept or a reject decision. In the case of an accept decision, the manuscript will begin its production process and you will receive further information from us. The editor has rejected your paper and suggested to transfer it. So that is the reason the status shows transfer pending. The editor has recommended the submission be transferred to another journal via our automatic article transfer service, and you are offered a transfer. So we will await your response before proceeding with the transfer pending. So now submission transferred. So you accepted the transfer and the submission is now transferred to another journal. So we have also published a video on the submission status explainer, which will explain how your submission progresses after submitting the manuscript to Editorial Manager. And the link of the video will now be posted in the chat box for you. So this is the submission tracker. So we have now introduced a submission tracker tool to more than 2000 plus journals. So once a journal is using a submission tracker, an email is automatically sent to the corresponding author when the first reviewer is invited. So as you can see from the screenshot here, the email contains a link to the submission tracker landing page where the author can view the status of the review process of their submission. Please note that the same link will remain active throughout the end-to-end peer review process. So we expect to have the submission tracker tool available for all journals in the near future. So the submission tracker landing page for a submission will look as shown in the screenshot here. So from here, you can monitor the complete status of your manuscript. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our webinar today. So thank you so much for listening to our session. So after this session, we will send you an email that will contain some helpful links to the webinar recording and some of the short video guides that relate directly to the topic today. So please look out for that email. So please, I request you to take a few moments to complete the short poll that you see on your screens right now. Before you leave, your answers will help us deliver more webinars like this. So thank you for joining us once again. See you next time. Bye-bye.